So the question is, have you had periods of time like that?
Yeah.
Where you're like, I don't know exactly what.
Dude, all the time. And while I feel like that, I have a million things going.
Yeah.
So
And you're like, I don't know what I want.
It can be very confusing for myself. It can be very emotional and discouraging, and moments of like super optimistic, but then all of a sudden like, oh shit, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, am I doing what I should be doing? Am I not doing what I should be doing? Something that aids me quite a bit is when I do interact with people that have been following me for a long time, because it feels good for me when I have someone share with me what impact I've had on them. It really, like through emails and things, it really lets me know like, okay, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're in the grind, and because a lot of stuff's online now, it's like you don't interact with the people that you are motivating or helping, and you don't even realize you're helping. For me, it's like I don't realize I'm helping.
Yep.
I'm just trying to do the best I can. Trying to always be better, a better version of myself. You know, and we all have flaws, but that's just the way life is, and we're sinners.
Yeah.
And I think that whenever I feel a little bit out of whack or crazy, like maybe things are moving too fast, I don't know where I land, like where I'm at or what I should be doing next. I know that should be doing great things, but like, well, how do you be great, right? It's like, well, how do I be great? I want to be great. Well, it's like, how do you be great? Well, you usually become great by not trying to be great.
Yeah.
You know, it's by pick one thing. Let's say you have a bunch of things you love to do. Okay, well, let's pick one thing and just focus on that, just like with your time, you know, prioritize that. If you're, bring it back to competing in a sport, you know, because I played a lot of different things growing up. I did a lot of things. I never wanted to let go of them. But as I got older, you have less time for those things. And my mom, I'd have to like pick and choose. And so we'd weed things out because I loved it, but I wasn't in love with it.
Right.
You know, it's like the first thing to go for me was soccer, obviously, because I was little, and then I grew up, and then I didn't play soccer anymore. I played softball. That's what I did. And I swam on the swim team. Both my sisters are swimmers, incredible swimmers. My sister swam on the junior Olympic team, competed in Moscow, Russia, when she was a senior in high school, I want to say. And, you know, I loved being on the swim team, but I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to do forever. I didn't want to let go of it. And that's where my parents came in. Oh, you're out. Not in 100%, you're out. But for me, when I start to feel a little bit out of whack, or things are going a little bit haywire, I don't really know what I should be doing, I get outside. For me, being outside is extremely healing and helpful in my mood, and helping me try and, like, you know, clear my thoughts, going on walks. But I just go back to something that was always tried and true. Just get in the gym. What am I doing there? I don't know. But just go.
Get there.
Just do something. And for me, it's pick one thing and just work hard at that. And while you're doing that, other opportunities may come up.
That's so true, though.
You know, and that will happen. And like, while you're doing that, you're like, oh yeah, I have time for that. Oh yeah, I have time for that. But when we're sitting back in the, you know, in the bleachers, and we're doing a little bit of everything, we're not cherry picking, but like you're doing a little bit of everything, but you're not 100% on one thing. Well, you're never even going to be someone they're going to call on, because you aren't doing it, whatever it is, enough to, like, when they call your name, like, be ready and prepared.
Yeah.
You know, but when you are focused on something and you're working hard and you're driven and you're dedicated, and it shows in your routine, it shows in your hygiene, it shows in your attitude, it shows in how you show up for your family, how you show up for your business partners. You just have already all of these characteristics that just make you great. Yep. That's what makes anything possible for you, is having those pieces. And you get that just from being focused on one thing and giving it your all. And from there, now you can, you know, do one-offs.
Yep.
Or like try something and, like, you know, already be pretty good at it just because of the base you've built. Yeah,
the base of habits and things that, to perform at a high level. And I think it's funny because you're describing it like almost like everybody does stuff and but there's a lot of people that don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk to those people, and you probably talk to them all the time, training people. It's like, they're like, no, my life is sedentary. Like, I don't do anything. How do I get going? And I think that's a good point to bring out too, is like, but the principle still applies. Do something. Because the door's open every time. I remember the first time I learned this, and not to bring it in, but it was still a very impactful time in my life, is when I served a 2-year mission, and it was hard. Like, anybody that's done it, it goes this, whether they're still a member of the church or not, doesn't freaking matter. They will always say that was a time that defined me. It was hard. It was difficult.
You grew up.
And you grew up. For sure. And I remember at that time when you're a missionary, you don't have, like, you kind of have a manual, but you're like, we don't really know. We just got to figure it out.
You're just doing it.
You're relying on the companion that's older than you. When you first get into the mission, there's somebody that's training you. And I remember, like, when that trainer left and I was the one that was supposed to, like, head it up, there was times at night when you're supposed to plan for the next day. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do tomorrow. I have no idea what we're going to do. And I'm supposed to be the one that's leading this ship. And it always came down to just go do something. And, like, I'll call it miracles happen. Like, things were just like, we were supposed to be there to talk to that person. They didn't get baptized. They didn't, but we helped somebody. I knew in my heart that we were supposed to be at that place, at that bus stop, talking to that homeless person or that person that was having a hard time because they just had this happen in their personal life, and just to be there for them, just to have a human being to talk to. And for me, that was a huge learning lesson. It's like, just go do something, just like you just said.
Just show up,
do it with the best of your ability.
And the truth is too, like, it can be very daunting, right? Like, when you have a big goal, you're at the beginning of it. It can, and I like to reference for, like, weight loss goals, because for me, I'm someone who gets very overwhelmed by first day of school, right? I mean, college, first day of school, or even in high school, and you go over the syllabus.
Yeah.
Day one, and we go through the whole thing, so you go through the whole year.
Yeah.
And I'm stressed to the absolute max for a 10-page paper that's due in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I remember those feelings.
That will, it like, an unbelievable amount of stress. I have anxiety, living with anxiety. But, like, when I was in high school, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But I was uncomfortable and never knew why. But I'm someone who, if I try and look at where I want to go, it's so far away, right? It's like, it really is so far away when you think about it that way. Now, but if you don't think about it that way, and even like right now, it's like, holy crap, summer's almost over. Longest winter ever. Christmas is going to be here before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
As a parent, people definitely know that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's already here? When I was competing in CrossFit, like, it's already the open. Like, time really goes by so fast. It really does. So if I have a goal and it's something where, I mean, even right now, like me getting back in the gym and training. So I'm getting into USPSA shooting. The goal was actually doing tactical games, but then I got a nerve issues stuff. So now I'm, like, putting anything really, like, fitness related on hold until I know that I'm good to go physically, because it will sit in the back of my mind when I'm in the gym if I'm doing more damage than good, right? So I'm waiting, but I'm holding off on tactical games because a couple reasons. One, I ain't doing a competition that has fitness involved, like a real competition, like me going and doing it, unless I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Unless I'm going, and I don't need to win, but I better show up and make people scared.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because I went to the CrossFit Games. My whole big portion of my career and who I am is me as an athlete. So I'm not going to go and do some painful, uncomfortable, because that's what it is. That's the reality of those competitions. They are so uncomfortable and they are painful, and it takes an incredible amount of mental fortitude, big word, to get through it and to thrive in it.
Yeah.
To excel and get better. You can't, not anyone can do it.
No.
So for me wanting to do that, it's like, well, it's like, I have no desire. I go to the gym. I have no desire to like show up and like show off for fun and like do scaled, or if I can't quite do it physically because I'm still recovering. No. If I'm doing tactical games, I'll still be green, but I will make people
You're there to
scared.
win if you can't.
Yes.
Or to make people scared.
Now with just getting into USPSA shooting, I have no problem being green.
Yeah.
I'm learning as I go, because I've never done it. But if it's something that I've done before and that's what I did.
I mean, there probably could be a time in the shooting that you eventually are like, yeah, I'm here to win because I've done enough of it. I'm 100%. Here to win.
I mean, with the USPSA, I still want to win.
Yeah. You're just okay. It's not going to ruin your day if you don't. Yeah. You're real with yourself.
Yeah.
That they've been in it longer and you're just cutting your teeth. Yeah.
But in terms of like just your roadmap.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, not all, for a lot of people, and like me, if I think too much about my end goal, where I'm trying to get to, there's just like so many opportunities that I can see where I'll probably maybe quit.
Yeah.
I'll get discouraged. It's very discouraging. And it's okay. That's just the reality. If you're trying to lose 100 pounds, man, the beginning of that journey, it can feel so discouraging because you can envision where you want to be. You can envision what you want. You have to sit with where you are, which already can, take you through some different emotions and thought processes. And then you start putting in the work and your diet and your exercise and all these things. Have to cut this out, slowly getting rid of non-negotiables that aren't very healthy for you. That it can be a lot. Now for me, I work very well on task at hand. So even as a games athlete, I would never look ahead on my program. I would show up to the gym, look at what I have to do.
At the games.
Just training, because every day you train.
Wherever your program, yeah, okay.
Whatever's on the docket, could be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, 1 session, 2 sessions, mostly 2. And it is, you look at it and you're like, man, you know what it's going to feel like.
Yeah.
So I'd open it up. How bad do you want it? I want it bad. All right. Write it on the board, and just start chipping away at my to-do list. Now, if I were to look ahead and really allow myself the time to sit in the reality of how many training sessions I have till I try and qualify for the CrossFit Games, all these things, there's a lot of things that can make you feel very discouraged well before you need to feel discouraged. So it's a matter of like, the more you can understand your reality, where you can win something, where you're going to lose it, the more you can be honest with yourself and give yourself grace and realize it's okay. If you're not good at something, well, it's okay. We can get better at it. It's like showing up to a CrossFit competition. You have to understand that you're as fit as you're going to be. Nothing that you do is all of a sudden going to make you fitter. And that was a lesson I learned through competing and with really wonderful coaches.
When you got to the games, when you got to
even
compete.
Through like regions, competing is understanding, because it's discouraging. This is where it comes back to, like, if you want to be great, you just want to be great.
Yeah.
Right? You do a competition. You have events that don't go very well for you. Well, your coaches know that they were never going to go great for you. That was a place where you could lose. So you have to be smart. It's like going into an event and knowing, all right, planning. Where could I win it? Where could I lose it? Now we plan it for where you lose it, because you don't want to lose it. So we adjust the way you do the workout. We adjust your rep schemes. We adjust your rest so you don't lose it. What part of this workout is going to ruin me and I'm not very good at it? Okay, how can we make that not matter? How can we plan the whole thing out so that doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Right? It's being honest with yourself about where you are, being honest with yourself about where you want to go, and then being okay with the fact that we're all learning.
Yeah.
Like if you've never done something before, then how can you be great at it?
Yeah.
There are those people that are like, oh, I've never, I don't know. They're just really good at things. They try it for the first time. Yes. But my recommendation to anyone who maybe gets overwhelmed or gets paralysis by analysis because of a lot of things that could be causing it. Try to stop looking at the big picture in terms of your roadmap, like when you really have to think about like what it's going to take to get there. Now, I'm a big picture kind of person, but you can think big picture and know where you want to be, but then limit the amount of time you spend thinking about what all those things are you're going to have to accomplish to even get to that goal, and just take it to a day at a time. What am I doing today? You know, if you're someone who does nothing, you're super sedentary and you just want to have drive, or you want to experience, like maybe you want to get really fit or whatever it is. And it comes down to like, all it takes is one decision.
Yeah.
And whether it's with diet, nutrition, whatever, and I bring that up because a lot of these topics, that's what I've discussed with so many people, that it's something that can be very hard, very debilitating, very uncomfortable, making very big, changes. There's a lot of nuances to nutrition type stuff. People have relationships with food due to trauma or due to whatever. But it's a matter of like, there's so many moments in a day. So all you have to have is one moment where instead of really making the wrong decision, you choose to make the right one. If you're someone who is constantly saying like, oh, it starts tomorrow, oh, tomorrow, oh, tomorrow. Yeah. Well, that will be your life. And then before you know it, because time does go by so fast, you'll be like, holy shit, I could have been here by now.
Yeah.
I could have accomplished it by now.
Yeah. And that
I would have stopped putting it off.
That part to me is what fires me up about helping people, is that I see way too many drifters. I'm convinced today that you're in the 1%. Not only to be a CrossFitter at your level is the top 1%. And people that are alive and that have ever been alive, like your top 1%. But not just in that, like your top 1% in my book is somebody that thinks a different way. Like you think at a high level, and you can tell, and those listening, you can tell that Brooke thinks at a high level just because of all this great advice that she's giving you. And hopefully you can feel those like veins of truth that, hey, just stay consistent and all this, that, and the other, right? Like that you've said today is so important to stay consistent. But what fires me up is there was a book that I read, and it was, it was about the devil. What was it? Outwitting the Devil is what it's called. And it was written by the same guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich. So Napoleon Hill, written early 1900s. And his family said, you can't publish this book. You're going to get like killed. Like somebody's going to kill you for talking about all these things in this book. So he didn't. He put it in his vault, and his family in the early 2000s found it. Is like generations, like 2 generations down the line. They're like, this is gold. Like we have to publish this book. And so they did. And so it's an amazing book. And one of the things that it talks about that is this relationship with, there's like an interviewer and the devil. And the interviewer's like, okay, I got you for this amount of time and you have to answer all my questions. One of the questions he asks him is, what is your biggest tool to get people, like, what's your goal first? And his goal is the devil says, to captivate as many of the minds of the people on earth as possible to get them to do what he wants them to do. And so he's like, okay, so what's your biggest tool to get them to do that? And he says, one thing, drifting. I just want them to drift. I want them to just not know where they're going. And it's something that he calls hypnotic rhythm, that they're just beaten to this drum and they have no idea. And I see that in so many people today. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if it's food, if it's their training, if it's in their family, if it's in their marriage, if it's in their business, whatever it is. It's just like they wake up and they're like, they don't even think about anything. They just wake up. It's autopilot. It's like, well, I've never even considered what I want in my life, Eric. I've never even thought about it. Do people think about that? Well, hell yeah. Mm-hmm. You can design the life that you want to. And I think that that's why podcasts exist. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why you're here today, is you're one of those people that is not a drifter. And I'm grateful for people like you, by the way, because I feel like it's a team effort. We have to have millions of people that are trying to get people to do better things so the world can be a better place. Mm-hmm. But I want to honor you for that. I feel like that's something that's unique about anybody that can think for themselves and like want to do something bigger. But not only that, but like to help other people. And that's clearly you.
Yeah.
For sure.
I will say one thing that works for me, obviously in terms of my career as a CrossFit Games athlete, but with your mindset is a big thing. And it's not, some people just, well, it's learned and it's practiced. You know, I always said some of the best athletes in CrossFit are wrestlers and gymnasts. Not necessarily for their abilities, for their mental strength. Wrestlers are wild.
It's one-on-one.
Watching my brother wrestle and like cutting weight, and I mean that is.
I want my boys to wrestle. I wrestled for 3 years, and I was a baseball guy, so I stopped. But those 3 years of wrestling,
it also teaches you so much body awareness, and I mean that's very valuable.
But yeah, first year I sucked. Yeah. I didn't know where I was like, what coach? I'm not supposed to be on my back. I didn't even know I was on my back. You know, it's like, it's so good.
But yeah, wrestlers, you know, it's this mental strength, and you can train it. You know, what I started doing for myself is the more aware you are in whatever it is that you're doing, and don't allow yourself to go on autopilot, and practice this in your everyday. Like, I know that probably so many of the people listening, we've all had moments where you're driving somewhere and then you get there and you're like, holy shit, how'd I get here?
Yeah.
Because you were driving, you were on autopilot, but you were somewhere else. And all of those moments, it really, it's wasting your time.
Yeah.
So the more you practice like being in the moment, sounds so cliche, but it's true. So like being self-aware and being in the moment.
I used to think that sounded woo-woo, but it's like, you be with yourself, be present. And I'm like, what does that freaking mean? Like, but it's true.
I think it's really
hard.
Just a matter of like being awake.
Yeah.
You know, so as you're experiencing things, it's not something you're going to be like, wait, what was that? Or how did I get here? Or yada, yada, yada. It's when you're aware, when in terms of mindset, that's how we can change it.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just like, oh, I changed it. No, it is every day.
No, it's so true.
It is self-talk. It's how you talk to yourself when things are going good. It's how you talk to yourself when things are going bad.
Yep.
So for me, certain things I always said to myself, out loud too. I mean, in my head, but like out loud at the CrossFit Games, just working out, just getting my training done out loud is, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
It's how bad do you want it?
It's so interesting. Like, there's a book that I read called Soundtracks. And it says that, like, if you say something out loud, it brings it from your subconscious to your conscious. Mm-hmm. And it takes it out, like, and you become more present with that thought. The other thing that it talks about is if you're going to change a thought and the soundtrack, so like the quality of your lives, like the main base of the book is like the quality of your life is determined by the quality of soundtracks that you play in your mind over and over and over. These habitual soundtracks, so what you believe that you can do, that story that you tell yourself. And it says that the only way to change that soundtrack and to have higher soundtrack is to be aware, like you said. And then you just mentioned two of like the main points in that book, which are you say something out loud. So you're bringing it from your subconscious to your conscious. Now you're aware of it and you're present with it. And then just to be able to catch it, like be aware. And it says like the first 5 seconds, and then you replace it, which is so crucial. If you're just drifting, hypnotic rhythm, you're never going to catch that ever.
Well, and then, when you're in some sort of maybe like a drifting cycle, misery loves company.
Yeah.
And people, we don't love change. So it's like we will continue to be miserable and we'll just bitch and complain, but we will not do anything about it. It's a matter of, if you want to be great, you want to be successful, start being someone you got to start.
Yeah.
Start practicing doing what you say you want to do and taking that step. Doesn't mean and then obviously be honest with yourself, because you're not going to try and then be like the best in the world or whatever, go to the NBA. But if you don't, I mean, that's the issue for a lot of people is when you're looking too much at like the goal in a way where you set that goal up on a pedestal and then you pay attention to like where you are in relation to that goal. It's like, oh man, you get discouraged before you even try, which means you don't even get to see how great you could be at it. You may not be the best.
Yeah.
But by trying and by doing the things you need to do in order to reach that goal, your life may go a completely different direction. I wanted to be on Broadway. But I'm singing and dancing. I wanted to be a rodeo. I wanted to do rodeo. There's so many things that I never did. I never saw myself doing what I do. I never started CrossFit to be an influencer.
Yeah.
And I absolutely hated that word when it first started coming out. I'm like, I'm not an influencer. I'm actually an athlete.
Yeah.
I have influence. That's different. I have influence because I did something. I don't have influence because I look nice, which is what's pretty cool for everybody nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, my best friend, she's older than me. She's Gina Chantarilla. She's 53. She always would tell me, she'd always say, like, we're only getting uglier. Like we always say, we have a saying where we say, and there's a lot of says, better be more funny.
Yeah.
We always say, gotta be more funny, because one, whenever you're in a tight spot or you're going through a rough patch or whatever, for me, the way I get through it is you have to get your mind around it, right? Because sometimes it's what you say to yourself is what keeps you in, like, dwelling in this painful place.
For sure. That your thoughts bring emotions.
You have to take that step with your mind.
Which is hard.
It's very hard.
If you're feeling anxious or depressed, I've been there times, and it is so freaking hard.
And it can take days, exactly what I need to do, but I can't. What I should do, but I can't.
Yeah.
Now, the moment you can get yourself to just do it,
you'll feel better.
You will feel better. And the beauty of it, and this is the way my brain works, is once you take that first step, someone on a weight loss journey, right? Where do we start? Go for a walk. Oh, you've been trying to cut sugar out, and you're on the verge of diabetes or something that is really uncomfortable, and you don't love your life, or maybe you're trying to cut back on drinking alcohol. You drink way too much.
Yeah.
You drink too often, and you want to be healthier, and you want to be stronger. You want to be the best in your business, or whatever it is. You want to cut some things down, but you just find yourself keep doing the same thing, and then you keep finding yourself like, oh, okay, Monday. Well, the beauty of realizing we have so many moments in a day where you can literally change the trajectory of your life.
Just get 1% better.
All you need is to do one thing.
Yep.
And then all you do after that is you do another one.
Yeah, atomic habits.
And you do another one.
And even if it's 5 minutes, right? This is crazy. And it's funny because I'm like, yeah, we've been here a while, but like, there's so many good things coming out of this. But there was another thought that came to my mind.
Which is funny because I was like, when I was coming here, I was like, I'm going to tell them hard stop at an hour.
All right. So we're past that. But there's at least one more thing that's coming to my mind of what you're saying. I had a conversation with a guy. He's LDS. He just got back from his LDS mission. He's 20 years old. Now he's 21. It's been a year. And now they go out at 18. And he has a really, really bad porn addiction. And he, it's funny, I'm in a mastermind with a guy, and he's like, you need to talk to Eric. Like, just to get your mind right, just talk to Eric. I'm like, well, talk to me. Like I'm not a therapist. Like, what are you talking about? Like, but he said, he calls me and says, well, are you willing to talk to this kid? I'm like, absolutely. If I can add value to an individual, any individual, and make him feel better or give him some value, absolutely. If he's struggling, I'm in. So we get on a Zoom call, and we're going through what he's going through, and he's super open and vulnerable. He said, since I was 11 years old, I struggled with porn until my mission. I cleaned up and never had an issue. The day I got home, straight back into porn. The day. It killed me. I cleaned up for 6 months. 6 months, went back in every single day after that. It's gotten bad. All I'll say is I don't look at anything that's kid related, but just about everything else. Now it's gotten to the point where I pay for prostitutes. And the prostitutes will do things and favors for him in his car. He's out working door to door. And so he's got to the point where he's lying to his manager where he's going, his family, whatever. And he's like, I hate my life. I can't do this. I am at rock bottom. And I'm sitting here listening to this, and it's like, this is pretty intense. Like every single day, hours of the day, like you got a problem. But I had nothing but love for the kid. And my thought in my mind was, so what, dude? This is where you are. This is where you are today. You've recognized that. High five, bro.
That is
where your baseline is.
That's the hardest.
And he's being real with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how hard was it to tell somebody that I just paid 3 prostitutes this week to come and give me a blowjob? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Like, you can put explicit on this if we need to, but like, this is real stuff. This happens all the time. This is somebody that just got back from their mission, and now they're struggling with prostitutes, but he's real with it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, high five. To somebody who hides it, like, they're never going to get better. So this is what I told him. I said, just get 1% better. I said, if you look at porn for 6 hours a day, look at it for 5 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. and then go to 4. If she gave you
and start replacing your time with things that are
healthy
that fill your cup.
Yes, because there's good dopamine, there's good oxytocin, there's things that will bring you the same high.
Once he starts to evolve, like just grow in a way where he now is becoming, a better man in a way, and maybe gaining some control of his life versus feeling like he can't help himself, right? And that people can feel that in so many different things in their life, where you feel like you're not in the driver's seat, and everything's going haywire. You hate your life, and you're not doing it the way you want it to, but for some reason it's all still going on. We can't take that hurricane and all of a sudden just stop it. But what you can do is like recognize the small wins. And it's so funny because some of the things that could seem so cliche can be extremely like monumental, life-changing for people.
In the right moments, for sure. And he's struggling right now with he'll have a couple of days where he feels like he's winning, but then he crashes because he has this all or nothing perspective of I have to be perfect at this or else it's all gone. Like all the progress that I made is gone. Like, dude, it's not all gone. Your effort is still there. You just had wins. Remember those, and don't be as hard on yourself when you do have the relapse. Expect them almost lean into it, because that which you resist will continue to persist. So let it go and just be okay. Like if she gave you a blowjob this time, get a hand job next time.
Hey, okay.
Get a little bit better.
It's baby steps.
It's baby steps. And that's my point. And to people, I told them, just to be clear, because this is going to be out there, I told them, you know what, you really need to not involve other people. I did say that. But the point of me saying that to him was just focus on getting a little bit better. If you're looking at it, just try to end it sooner. Just try to be a little bit better. And that will help you. In a year from now, you'll look totally different.
Yep. And I think that, when we have bad habits, which there's a scale. I mean, there are an array of things that what could be a good habit for me could be a bad habit for someone else.
Sure.
Like me trying to sleep in the morning would be a bad habit for someone who needs to be up. I'm not a parent, so me sleeping in and having a slow morning would be a bad habit for a mom with toddlers.
Yep.
Right? Because you got to show up and be a mom.
But for a pro athlete, the recovery is like the most important thing.
But it's the things that you want to change. It's like find one. Don't overwhelm yourself with where you want to be, because if it is a journey, it's a journey. So it's small things, small wins. It's just all you focus on is that one day, and being aware. And when you come face to face with a decision you have to make, practicing getting better at making the right one. And you're not going to make the right one all the time, but paying attention and make the right one. And that thing just, you evolve and you start replacing bad habits with good ones.
Yeah.
You replace things that, maybe make you feel good. In terms of porn, it's like it makes you feel good in the moment, but that overall you actually makes you feel really bad, and it's deteriorating your life. It can really cause a lot of problems in so many areas of your life. Well, how can we find something that can replace that? And maybe not all the time because it's baby steps, but how can we replace it? Do you like to? It's why a lot of people get into exercise. People with drug addictions, they start going and they do CrossFit. It's because they take this same intensity or something that's like.
It's a baseline.
Ruling them.
Yeah.
And now they get in the gym and it's a different addiction.
Yeah.
Healthier one.
For sure.
And at a certain point, they'll probably have to, figure out how to manage that to where it's not so obsessive that it's also not hindering their life with their family or their time wherever. But it's a matter of how can what's going to be good enough to replace that to where we can trick your mind.
Yeah.
It's almost...
We all just want to be happy.
Yeah.
We all just want to feel good.
Yep.
And that's what the brain wants. And that's why people go to alcohol, porn, whatever their addiction is, drugs, is because their brain, and this was an interesting thing that I learned in a study that was done, that the brain, we're actually really good most of the time at projecting, like, we'll see a steak and we know what that tastes like before we eat it. We know, like, hey, we're going to this place. We can, like, see the roads and, like, we can project things that are in the future. But we're really bad with addictive things to be able to project the pain that we're going to feel after. So when you feel low in like dopamine, your brain goes, crap, I feel low. I need to I want to feel good again. And so it goes, when was the last time how did I get that big dopamine spike? Oh yeah, it was porn. Hey, go look at porn. Hey, go look at porn. Go look at porn. And it just nags you, your brain, because it wants that hit. What you're saying is it's completely true. Like, you just go find that somewhere else because the brain just wants to feel good. So if you replace it with that, then the brain's going to say, oh, you got it over here. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. Go to the gym.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. But
and it's a work in progress. I mean,
yeah,
I'm a work in progress.
all of us,
You know?
for sure. Thankfully, I have a patient wife because I am a work in progress for sure.
I don't have a partner, but I do have a lot of very patient people
Yeah.
around me.
And thank goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it's so common. It's common sense, which is also something that people is lacking in society these days. But we're all just a work in progress, you know. And what I hope is that more people than not are also just wanting to be better.
Yeah.
You know,
I wouldn't agree with that.
I think it's important for you to always be working on your own mindset. It is important for you to always be working on yourself and have humbling moments. And some of those moments may be really uncomfortable and you want to be defensive or want to deny them or whatever. The best thing you can do is take responsibility, have the learning experience, and then be better for it. And that is the way that I constantly try to think, because I have messed up so many times. Everyone does, you know, and where things haven't gone the way that I really hoped they would. And when you have moments like that, and I think especially when you're younger and you're getting older, and those types of moments can really rock you because you've yet to really experience life of like what's real pain, right? But it doesn't matter, because no matter of what level of pain you're experiencing, if that's the worst thing you've ever experienced, it's the worst thing you've ever experienced. Even if I'm looking at being like, this dude's upset about this.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter if in hindsight, if it's a real problem or not, but if it's the first real problem you've had, well, then it's a very painful, uncomfortable problem. You know, and no matter how small it is, big picture, or like to the outsider, it can feel very big in your life, and that can inhibit you from trying anymore. It can inhibit you from progressing at all.
Yep.
Because if it's so emotional and you have such an emotional response to it, and you've yet started training yourself to be self-aware, to have some more emotional intelligence, to be able to accept that, like, just literally say to yourself, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, because you want to change it. And you're going to mess up, and you're not going to be 100% all the time. And that's just the way it goes. But if you don't get to a place where you can say to yourself, regardless of how bad something is or on your level of bad, whether it's like maybe how you talked to your mom, you're young, or like how you respond to your dad or your siblings, or how you treated your friend when you were having a bad day and then you acted out on everybody. Well, it's a matter of showing yourself grace. And the only way you get to a place where you show yourself grace is when you become aware enough to understand that, like to kind of have moments where you step outside of yourself and realize, like, we're all sinners and we're all just trying to do the best we can. That's the reality. People are messing up constantly. Nobody is perfect. People are just better at hiding their faults than others, or faking it. You know, I cannot fake it. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I've got stuff going on in my life, you will notice I won't be as, you know, active on social media. Because for me, it's like, I can't hide it. I can try. And sometimes, I mean, for certain things, I can put my shit away and like do my job. But I'm a very emotional person. I learned this year that I'm an empath. Had no idea. And I didn't know what that was. But I have been doing work. I am. And now for me, like, to understand that about myself, how I am a very emotional person, and I am, I care from such like a deep place, that when I care for someone else so much, I will react to that. I will take on those feelings, and all of a sudden it's something that I have to now, like, I'll start feeling, or I'll start having to deal with. And it's like, I have to remind myself, like, well, are you feeling that because it's you, or are you feeling it because it's somebody else? You know, and we're all just a work in progress. Yep. We're just, hopefully I say we, because I'm assuming everybody listening to this is also like, yeah, me too. We're just out here trying to do the best we can.
For sure.
And at this point in my life, I realize, like, I'm not done being great at things, but one of the most important things I want to be great at is a really, really great example.
Yeah.
But more than that, I want to be someone who can and does help people as much as I can.
So good.
Yep. And share through very real life experiences I've had and lessons I've learned. Share that.
Yeah.
One, with people that look at me like, they put me up on a pedestal.
Not maybe. Yeah, they do.
Like
a lot of
maybe
people do.
Yeah, but it's like maybe, and the reason I want to share that even more is so I can remind them, like, I'm just like you, and I don't have it all together, and I go through really hard times, and the camaraderie in that, even like conversations you had with that boy, it's like the camaraderie is so relieving for people.
Yeah.
And I've experienced it for myself many times, where it's like, oh my gosh, because a lot of the time we're in so much pain because we're putting ourselves through it over and over and over again. Now, if you can allow yourself to move on from it, I've had this conversation with my sister too, when she gets in this cycle of almost thinking she is who she was when she was younger. There's so much negative connotation around that. And I'm like, Robin, you're the only person that is, you're keeping yourself in this prison in your mind of who you think that everyone is pointing fingers at you and thinking this about you. It's like, the beauty is like, just be who you want to be.
Yeah.
It's so easy that it can feel so unbelievably difficult and hard.
Yeah.
But we hold ourselves back. So the moment you continue to work on becoming more aware, remind yourself, out loud, everybody is just trying to do the best they can. And as long as we're constantly trying to be better, be 1% better, we're going to live a pretty good life. Yeah. We're going to have hard times too, but we're going to get through them way faster, way easier. And we're going to learn. We're not going to experience the same, pain or bad experiences because we didn't learn the first time, second time, third time.
Yeah.
The more aware you become, the faster you learn those lessons. You're still going to learn lessons. Our life is full of lessons. That's what it's for. You're still going to learn them. But you're not going to have to learn it over and over and over again.
Yep. It's true. The pain is temporary, right? Like if we just don't give up and we keep trying, whatever it is.
Just 1% better, and say, it's okay.
Yep. I mean,
now, when you don't get to tell yourself it's okay, as if you're continuing to be the person that says, I'll do it Monday, I'll do it Monday, I'll do it Monday, I'll do it Monday.
Yeah, that's the effort
Don't
part.
keep telling yourself in those moments it's okay, because it's not okay.
Yep. Just do it now.
Yeah,
do it today.
Put in the effort.
And you only really have today anyway.
Yeah.
Brooke, thanks so much. Like, yes, we're done. We I don't know how long we've been here, but I just feel like everything you're saying, we're jamming back and forth. And I'm like, holy cow, we've been here a little bit of time. But this is probably the longest podcast I've done. But I feel like I'm excited to release it out there for people because I think there's a lot of people in Southern Utah, but aside from that, like that need to hear a lot of the things that you said. So thanks for coming. Sorry for keeping you too long.
No, that's okay.
I'm glad you were here though. So
conversation. That's why this thing.
It's fun.
I could talk forever.
It's fun.
Some people, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Guys, thanks again. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming this far. If you guys haven't already subscribe to the podcast and share it. Like if this is something that you feel like is of value to somebody else that you know, share it with them. Would love to get it out there to as many people because that's really the purpose of this podcast anyways, just to help people. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.